Hello pilots and welcome to another X-Wing unboxing video brought to you by Out of Arc Gaming. As always, my name is Phil and today we're bringing you the BTA-NR2 Y-Wings for the Resistance, making now that pretty much all the factions have access to a Y-Wing, but these are pretty cool as well. I've been having a look at what you can do with these and I quite like them, and I'm again really excited to get these on the board. So let's get this pack cracked open, see what we've got in there, and hopefully we'll get a bit more information. So first things first, it's worth noting that this is actually the first time we've had a two small ship pack released. We've had dual ship packs in the past with the Ghost and Shethapede, the YB666 and the Z95, but this is the first one they've done for two small base ships. I'm a big fan of this actually. Saves you having to buy two full packs, having additional of those name pilot cards that you're not really going to use. So I quite like this. A much quicker and easier way of getting hold of multiple copies of these ships. Also, it does allow for us to have slight variation in there, as we have a red and blue hulled ship there. Again, it's only really subtle, but I really like it. Now, the eagle-eyed and very frequent flyers of the Y-Wing will probably have already spotted quite a few differences there. Now, if you're not as eagle-eyed, we do have the original BTL Y-Wing here, and as we can see, there is a sizable difference in length in those engine nacelles. The cockpit is different. You have a normal turret on top of the original Y-Wing, and this one has the gunner slot at the back instead. So for those of you thinking this is pretty much just a slight variation reprint of the Y-Wing, you can rest assured it is not. They have actually done quite a fair amount to make this slightly different. If we just look at that engine nacelle crossing there, that's much chunkier. So this is a lot bigger than the original Y-Wing. Seems to be quite a running theme of the last two packs. This and the Fury of the First Order. These ships are big, but also very cool. So again, looking forward to getting these down on the board. But let's have a look and see what cardboard and cards we get in the pack. So here's all the cardboard you get, and it is stacked. You actually get 4 sets here. So the first card you get has all of your pilots on there. And double-sided so that you can run everything. Obviously on the back here is all of your generic pilots. But you get plenty of those, so don't worry. You got your 2 dials here. It's not a terrible dial, not great. There's a lot of red on there and not much blue, but there are things you can do to obviously counteract that with R4 Astromech. And you get your ID markers, shields, target locks and charges. I can imagine with this you're going to need a lot of charges. And then more concussion bombs and the electro chaff cloud. So quite again a nice amount of cardboard in this pack should keep you going, especially if you are a newer player. If you've already got them in acrylics, then that's all good, well and good. These can be quite handy. I know that with my acrylics, sometimes I don't quite have enough to cover everything I'm doing, and having some spare cardboard ones there is pretty handy. Right, well let's move on to the cards in the pack and see what we get. So let's crack on through these cards. So we get a nice little stack of pilot cards here. So we've got 12 pilot cards, including the generics. So first is first, we have Zori Bliss. After a ship at range 1 performs an action during its perform action step, if that action is on your action bar, you may spend 1 charge to perform that action, treating it as red. The ironic thing is, most of Zori's actions are already red. But again, that's quite handy. It can allow you to double up on actions. Now you have the intuitive interface, which is after you perform an action added to your action bar by a talent, an illicit, or a modification upgrade, you may perform a calculate action. So although the actions are red on there, it gives a lot of options to be able to actually double up with that calculate. So it's not bad there. Now Zori Bliss is I5. And we have 2 attack, 1 evade, 4 hull, 3 shields, and for Zori we have that 1 recurring charge for her ability. Next we have Teaser Naz, I4. So while a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 performs an attack, if the defender has a ship friendly to the attacker in each of its side arcs, the attacker may reroll 1 attack die. So this would be a good against swarms. So if you've got ships running in a swarm and you're taking out the middle one, this is going to be quite handy for that. We have Wilsa Teshlo, I4. After you perform an attack, if the defender was dealt a face-up damage card, the defender gains 1 strain token unless you choose 1 non-recurring charge from 1 of its upgrades and loses that charge. So that's really doubling down on the pain that your opponent is going to be getting there. We have Shasa Zare. Again, can I just say, that artwork, some of the artwork on these cards have really outdone themselves, but the artwork on this card I think just looks amazing. It really, to me, evokes the scene in Force Awakens with the X-Wings going across the water. I just think that's amazing. Anyway, we digress. So I3 for Shasa Zare. After you defend, you may choose a friendly ship in your rear arc at range 0 to 2 and 1 of your green tokens. If you do, that ship gains a matching token. So this is a really good one. Have her up front, sort of soaking up a bit of damage and then adding some tokens to your guys behind. So I do like that. Liga Fosang. Now again, apologies if I am absolutely butchering any of these names. As we know, Star Wars has some interesting names that can be quite tricky to do. But I3, while you perform a primary or turret attack, you may re-roll 1 attack die for each friendly device or calculating friendly ship in the attack arc. So especially if you're running these in a swarm with the intuitive interface, that could be quite handy there. Aftab Akbar, I2. After you execute a red basic maneuver or perform a red action, if you have exactly 1 stress token, you may gain 1 strain token to remove that stress token. I quite like that actually. It gives you another way of getting rid of those stress tokens, so that's an interesting one. Chorus Capellum, I1. Before you engage, you may choose 1 ship in your firing arc at range 0 to 1. If you do, transfer 1 green token from that ship to yourself. At the I1 step, that's a pretty good ability because it just gives you those tokens if you happen to have lost them already from being attacked. So if you've got them spare, that's a good one. Kai Threnali, I2. After you fully execute a maneuver, if you move through a friendly ship, you may perform an evade action. Now on a Y-Wing, that's pretty good, to be honest. You can't really argue with that. So we have your I3 generic, the New Republic Patrol. And as you can imagine, 2 copies in there. And the I2 Kimi Spice Runner, or Kijimi Spice Runner, sorry. And again, 2 copies of those in the pack. So a nice amount of pilot cards in there, so plenty of options for you. Now let's have a look at the upgrade cards. So, first up, we have Babu Frick himself. Before you would gain a non-lock red or orange token, you may spend 1 charge to place it on this card instead. During the system phase, if there are 1 or more tokens on this card, you must spend 1 charge. If you cannot, remove those tokens and gain matching tokens. That's Resistance or Scum Illicit. Some more concussion bombs. Again with these, if you have spent a charge, you must continue to drop concussion bombs if you're able to. Delayed fuses. The electro chaff missiles. During the system phase, you may spend 1 charge from this card to launch 1 electro chaff cloud using the 3 bank or 4 straight template. Then place 1 fuse marker on it. This card's charge cannot be recovered. Engine upgrade. Expert handling. So again, that could be quite handy on a Y-Wing, especially after what we see in the Rise of Skywalker. Ion cannon turrets. L4ER5 resistance astromech must have the rotate action. At the start of the engagement phase, you may transfer 1 calculate token to a friendly ship in your firing arc, and that gives you the rotate to calculate white linked action. Overtuned modulators. Illicit. During the system phase, if you are not stressed, you may spend 1 charge to gain 3 calculate tokens. During the end phase, if your charge is inactive, for each green token you remove, gain 1 strain token. So use it at your own risk, but it's a pretty good card. And you get 2 of those. Targeting computer gives you the white target lock action. Tearfon belly run. You can perform special attacks even while at range 0 of asteroids. While you defend, if you are at range 0 of an obstacle, attack dice cannot be re-rolled. I like this card, and I can see this being used quite handily on some of these Y-Wings. You get 2 copies in there. And the config card, Wartime Loadout. Gain 1 torpedo slot and 1 missile slot. Replace your ship's ability with the following. Devastating Barrage. While you perform a torpedo or missile attack, if the defender is in your bullseye, your crit results cannot be cancelled by evade results. You gain 2 shields, get a white target lock and a white reload. This is your standardized BTA-NR2 Y-Wing config and modification card. Now currently, it's 4 points. This is brilliant. I've included this on a couple of my lists that I've built so far. I think this is really good, but we'll have to see. But 4 points for that and 2 shields, yeah, I was quite happy with that. And you get 2 copies of that. And finally, the Watchful Astromech. After you perform a rotate or reload action, if you are in an enemy's ship's firing arc, you may perform a red calculate action. Not a bad card. Great, there we go guys. That's all of the cards that we get in the pack. Again, quite a good pack there. I like the idea of 2 small base ships in a pack, allowing you to get multiples. I always think that that should be something that could continue going forwards, allowing you to get those ships a lot easier. It's always a little bit disappointing when you need multiples of a ship and you have to buy them individually, especially, as I said, for those named pilots where you end up having multiples of and you're not really going to use them. So I'm a big fan of this pack and the way they've done it. But anyway guys, again, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you do like what we're doing here at Out of Art Gaming, we do have a Patreon with a link in the description below, and we would very much appreciate any support you wish to send us. But in the meantime guys, thanks for watching and we will see you next time.